How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Does it look good?
Looks great.
I've been having difficulties all day. When you're old, you can't do this virtual stuff anymore.
I don't know. You kind of get used to it, but it's always glitchy.
No matter what we do. I'm sorry about earlier. I swear we were having so many difficulties with the camera. And what's crazy is I do it every week. There's a meeting every week. There's something wrong. I can't explain it.
Just for laughs, I love that you're doing this in conversations with funny people. What have you prepared for that? Like, are you chatting with Janelle before you do it, or what's that format going to be like?
I would never prepare for something like that. I think the rawness is the best. It's a conversation. Nothing worse than a scripted conversation. You know, I would love to just answer it with my heart and when the questions are asked. I think that's the best time to have a normal conversation. And, you know, especially during these times, you know, we're not able to, you know, celebrate like we normally do every year in Montreal at Just for Laughs, where people are just walking around and hugging and taking selfies. And, you know, it's fun for the fans, and it's also fun for the comics to see other comics that inspire us, or even just our peers walking around. So that's not around. So if we can give some type of element that you can't get normally, which is like a normal conversation without any script or set up questions, that's fake. You know what I mean? The rawness, the better.
That's awesome. You must miss the stage by this point, because it's been quite a while, I imagine, since you've been on stage?
Yeah. You know, I got to go on stage. I was 6.5 months in with no stage time at all. And I was fiending hard. And then Dave Chappelle put that show together in Ohio. Right. And I got invited to go do it. And it was the most amazing experience to finally be on stage and perform, of course, with Dave himself alongside Dave, and witness greatness like that, especially on that night when he won 3 Emmys. And then, of course, my commercial was on his Emmy, and Tiffany Haddish had her commercial on the Emmy. And it was a surreal moment. It was just so much fun for all of us to be there at Dave's house watching the Emmys together and perform on stage together. It was so much fun.
Do you think that, you know, like, what's going to happen in a year or two, hopefully, when things go back to normal? Is this going to leave an impact on format of comedy, or maybe just alternatives or something?
Nope, I ain't changing. No matter how much we try and adapt to this temporary norm, I like to call it, you'll never replace human engagement and human energy. There's something beautiful about a room full of strangers laughing at the same thing at the same time. There's just something great about it, and everyone connecting on all cylinders. You know, we go in there blank, and then we leave there with this beautiful painting, and we all did it together. You know, I that's how I like to look at it, and you can't recreate that. No matter how hard we try, no matter how much technology there is to help us, it's not going to be the same. This interview between you and I, no matter how fun, it's going to be fun, but there's something about you and I sitting in front of each other, and just that energy, that bond that we create when we're together. It's you can't recreate that virtually. You just can't.
It's true. I miss sitting down for real interviews like nothing else, because it's a completely different format from anything we could try and do here.
Yeah, it's just everything about that energy that we possess when we're together in the same room and feeding off of energy. And you know, it's weird experiencing things inside the room together and feeding off of it. You know, like, that's something we can't create doing this. There's no way. It's still going to be a great interview. It's just not the same.
That's totally fair. The other thing I want to talk about JFL was the fact that you were named in 2018 Stand-Up Comedian of the Year. What has that meant for you? Because JFL stands, you know, as Just for Laughs is one of the premier things to do for comedy. So what does it mean to you today?
Wrong.
No?
JFL is the only, Not the premiere, not nothing else. It is the only. Anything else out there is a duplicate of what JFL did. There's nothing else like JFL. JFL is organic. It happened naturally. It was beautiful. Canada embraces it unlike any other. It is literally a comic's dream. For the minute we decide that we want to be a comedian, all we dream about is being recognized by JFL. That's all we think about. That's our Oscars. That's our Grammys. That's our Emmys. I know it sounds funny, but it is very true, because even at 2020, with all the great actors out there that came up through the stand-up game that went on to win Oscars, to this day, they still don't get recognized for comedy or stand-up. And it drives me crazy, because it is the hardest job in show business. And what we do, it's unmatched. Unmatched. You can get any entertainer out there and tell them to do 5 minutes, and they'll probably say no, because it is that scary, it is that honest, and it's that real. And I'm telling you, man, and JFL has provided a platform, an event, and that's unlike any other, and it makes us feel good. It really does. And we really do look at, even when we're not invited to JFL, we somehow make it down there, because there's just something special about JFL, and I can't explain it. When I got Comedian of the Year, I cried when I got that my acceptance speech. I cried, and to be able to share that in a room like with Tiffany Haddish and Little Rel, and man, I can't even, Mark Maron, and God, who else was there that night? Oh, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart was there, Alonzo Bowden was there, like Gina Yashir. It was just such a special moment, and to be recognized that day was just, man, it was beautiful. That was my Oscar moment. Like I could retire after that. That trophy sits here wherever I go. If I go to a new house, it comes with me. But that's the first thing I pack.
That's amazing. I mean,
Howie Mandel. I forgot to say Howie Mandel. He gave me the award. Like, it was so beautiful.
As a Canadian, we take great pride. I know many of us take great pride in Just for Laughs, because it is unmatched. It's like nothing else. So
yep,
it's great to hear the community say that too, because we take a lot of pride in it too, I'd say.
Yeah, there is no other. That's why when you said that, I was like, there is no other.
I was trying to be fair there, but
I speak on behalf of every comedian out there. Every comedian. There's nothing like JFL. It's created so many superstars. You know what I mean? It made so many amazing TV shows. Like, so many deals were made in Montreal. So many movies were made in Montreal because of that festival. And the things that happened in my career is all because of JFL. My first agent, my Tonight Show appearance, my I can't even name them all. The award, winning the Gemini Award, that was from JFL. So I owe everything to JFL. Bruce Hill, Howie Mandel, Robbie Prawl, when he used to work for JFL. Now he's over at Netflix, but for years he was running that whole JFL movement, and I was a part of it.
That's amazing. The other side of this, though, is that your career has taken off. I mean, I'd say it started well before that, but I mean, you're on the cover of Variety this month. Obviously, you're doing the JFL thing. I understand you're working with Spielberg. You've got a Funko Pop. The Honolulu named a day after you.
Yes.
How do you feel about all this?
It's crazy. God, next week I go to San Diego. They're giving me a day in San Diego. So
wow,
it's so, when, like I said, man, this job, it's very lonely. There's weeks that I went without seeing my son, and there's a lot of sacrifice, but I had to do it because, well, look what my son gets now. He gets to live a very great life. Yeah, I sacrificed a lot, but I hope my son sees what I had to do to get to where I am. You know, I hope I inspire them that way. But to be able to live the life I get to live now it took a lot of sacrifice, you know? So yeah, it's fun to see all this stuff starting to happen. It took me 30 years to get here, but hey, it was worth the wait.
Well, it's amazing. I enjoy your comedy so much, and I love your sense of family in your comedy and how often the stories come back to family or back to home and different things like that. So what does that mean to you now? Has that changed over the years in your comedy?
I've always been a fan of storytellers. So I always loved Louis Anderson, Dennis Wolfberg, Bill Cosby when he did, himself, when he talked about himself, old Bill Cosby, long time ago.
Yeah.
And, Eddie Murphy, God, the heart that Richard Pryor would put into his storytelling, you know what I mean? Like just literally uncensored, unfiltered. And I enjoy that. I enjoyed it because one, I could relate to it. And I just enjoyed listening to it. Like, and that's always been my style. Like I don't mind the other styles. It's just, I like to tell a story. I like to talk about my family. And if I can keep pulling stories out about my mom or my son, I'm going to keep doing it because I just enjoy telling it.
Well, we enjoy listening to it. I have to say, that's one of the reasons I think I connect with your comedy is that sense of storytelling in place. For you, otherwise, then, I know you're working now on other things. So then how do you relate to those things when you're doing them? So, for instance, I know you're going on set this week. I'm not sure what that was, but can you talk a bit about storytelling outside of comedy?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the deal with Spielberg is amazing. The way I got that was through Coming in Hot when I shot my special, the second special for Netflix. And Spielberg was a fan of it, called me in, and I had a meeting with his execs over there at Amblin. And next thing you know, I'm walking out with a deal. And by the way, I want to give a big shout out to Dan Lin because everyone always does the Steven Spielberg story. But we also, I always want to tell people Dan Lin was the first one. Dan Lin created It 1 and It 2, Aladdin, the Will Smith one, and then, of course, all the Lego movies. So that's Dan Lin, Ride Back. And he's the one that initially gave me the deal. And then when I went into Amblin, I pitched them the same deal that I had with Dan, and they jumped on it. And now it's a collaboration between Amblin and Ride Back with Dan Lin and Spielberg's company. And this is beautiful. This is so cool to even say that Spielberg watched my special and wanted to work with me. And now here we are. We're already at script, and now we're getting ready to shoot. So get ready. So, yeah, it's just cool to actually see those stories come to life and to have someone like a Spielberg be involved like the way he is. Like, he's such a fan, and I can't believe it. And I love it.
And is that, if you don't mind me asking, is this the Easter project or is this something else?
Yes, that's Easter. Yeah, it's called Easter Sunday. I can't wait, man. I'm so damn excited, man. And man, what an honor. It's just so crazy to even hear that. Just him being interested or him watching the special, I already won. When he said he watched the special, I was like, my mouth dropped. I was like, wow, thank you, God. That's everything.
Well, I know we're probably short on time now, so one thing I just want to ask.
Take your time. What are you talking about?
No publicist ever tells me take my time. No offense to the publicist, but in terms of production, like you don't often take acting roles. So I'm curious, is there a reason you're not putting yourself in acting roles, or is it just a preference?
Well, no, I always went in for auditions. I just never landed them,
That seems crazy to me.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's the name of the business. You know what I mean? I could count some other actors that were alongside me, that didn't get the parts either. So that was always my motivation to keep moving forward. I wouldn't land parts. I would get close. I would get this close. You know what I mean? Hey, you're this close to getting it. Can you go back in and read again? Can you go back and read again? And I would go back and do, 3 or 4 auditions for the same part and then not get it. And then also see who else was trying to get it and they're not getting it. So it's like, that's the name of the game. It's not, you got to have a thick skin in this business and also understand that, like, hey, it's not you. It's just you weren't what they were wanting for that particular part at that time. And that's fine. So you just got to, that's the thing about this, man. You just got to take it in and just not get offended easily. You know what I mean? So that's always been my motivation. And with the pilots that, I've had 2 pilots that were this close to airing and then get cut. And that's the name of the business, man. Like, you know what I mean? How many pilots did all these people had, like Jerry had and Ray had, and all these people had before me? So you just got to keep pounding away, and that's fine. And just understand that your time will come. So I've been blessed to have Jerry, and I've been blessed to have Steven Spielberg, in my corner, and Dan Lin. So,
are you going to put yourself in your own projects now, though? Like, now that you have the chance?
Oh yeah, this is 100% me. It's my, it's my story, and it's my lead. I want to shout out Melvin Marr as well in Randall Park. We're getting ready to work on a project together as well for TV. So look out for that. And it's all happening, man. Just take time, and I'm happy no matter what. I won. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I look at it. As long as people are looking at it and they support it, then I won. Whatever else happens is just a bonus.
The last thing I'd like to know is, you basically used, from what I've seen, you've used your presence now as a force for good, and you've been doing a bunch of things. What does that mean to you? Because, not everyone takes an opportunity to do the things you've done. And I think it's really interesting. So how did it start? What inspired you to get involved, I guess?
Are you talking about my In His Elements, the one where I shot in the Philippines?
Well, yeah, I mean, so that's the first thing. I even think, I've heard of some of the charity work you've done in the past.
Oh, thanks.
Like I think it means a lot to a lot of different communities, but certainly the fact that you're standing up for your heritage as well as standing up for people who need support, basically.
Oh, thank you. I don't really like to put that stuff out there because I don't know. It's just like, when you do stuff like that, it's because you want to do it. And I feel like, putting it out there like, hey, I did this for this. I don't know. I just feel like that's not being, I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just saying, for me, I just feel like when I do stuff like that, if I donate to a charity or if I raise money and then match it and give, I don't want to go on the news and put that out there. It's just for me. And I know how it feels to not have money. And I know how it feels to be in positions where you can't, where you can't do it. You can't move forward and you need help. And it's hard to ask. So I'm in that position where I can help. So I like doing it. So I get it from my family, I guess. We like to help. So I don't really put it out there, but yes, I do love to raise money for certain causes. I don't really go public with it. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm giving you the right answer, but that's how I am. And the thing that I did with In His Elements when I shot it in the Philippines, that meant so much to me because when I was coming up as a kid and I wanted to be a comic, I had nothing to inspire me. I had nothing to show me that, oh, Filipinos are on TV or Filipinos are in the movies. I had nothing. Oh, Filipinos can do stand-up. I had nothing. So, and then for me to actually pay for my special for Netflix, even though I was 27 years in the game and I'm selling out all these venues and I'm still having to pay for my own special, I know how hard it was just to get into Netflix. So when I finally got in, I wanted to use that opportunity to help other Filipinos and give them a shot because I got the door slightly open, man. So I was like, you know what? I know how hard it was for me to open it. Let's go. So I asked Netflix if I could shoot that special in the Philippines, and they embraced it with open arms, man. I couldn't believe they did it. So I was able to showcase Filipino talent in the Philippines, and then I was able to show Filipinos in America what the Philippines looks like, in person and to perform there. It was just a beautiful moment. and now it's being recognized for People's Choice Award. So I pray that it gets it, because I did it for the culture. I did it for my people, man.
I love that you're getting recognized for it already, because really it's I think it's groundbreaking. There needs to be more. I love seeing more unique comedy opportunities like this, that it's not just a stand-up special. There's more to it.
Yeah, there was a lot to it. Like, this is, imagine going to a country that's, a third world country. It's not third world, but I'm just, the opportunity is very slim. And especially when you're trying to make it as a rapper or a dancer or a comedian, like, the opportunity in the Philippines is not, it's not there. So when you can bring a platform like Netflix and tell these kids, hey, I want you to rap, I want you to do the opening song for this special, and millions of people will get a chance to see you, or I'll tell these kids that are dancing in the street, come up with a routine and open up my special. Like, man, that means a lot, dude. And it's inspirational, and those kids in the Philippines are inspiring other kids to do what they do, and it showed them that, hey, if you believe in something, it'll happen. And now look at these kids, man. We just got done shooting a music video for them, and put it out there. It's so cool. I'm tickled that that's happening.
Well, I did realize one last question, actually. You're writing a book, or you've already written a book called Mixed Plate that's coming next year. Can you tell me just a little bit about that?
You want to see a sneak peek?
Oh. Yeah, sure. That's amazing.
Look how thick it is. What?
So how long did that take you?
Oh, man. Well, I was on 2 major tours at that time to write that. I did Break the Mold, which was huge. And that was like 100 and something cities, 130 cities or something like that. And then my second tour was called Just Kidding. And that was where I was doing the arenas. And that was huge. So I had really no time to really write. And it took me almost 2 years to get that done. So yeah, me and my partner wrote that. And, I saw his kid grow right before my eyes. From the belly. I saw it from the belly. So it means a lot. So to actually finally see it come to life like this, and it's going to be on shelves. Wow. Amazing.
That's so cool. Well,
so when I'm no longer around, my son's kids will always see their grandfather right there. Like when I'm not around. Like, oh, hey, Dad, your dad was amazing. You damn right.
It's amazing too, though. You're actually leaving more legacy than most people will ever leave for their kids. So it is really cool to see the breadth of work that you're doing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for the time. It really, really a pleasure. I was tickled when they said they could set this up. So it's really nice to talk to you.
Yes. I love you, man.